I like to think that I'm fun, or at least try to have fun. That's one of my driving maybe features. I always try to, if I think it's important, I let in the mood. If I don't think it's important, I let things simmer. But I always try to at least inject a bit of humor. I think it's always super useful to be laughing. It feels better. You connect with other people. You enjoy your time.
Did you always laugh?
Do I laugh? I think so. I was always very bad at telling jokes or trying to make people laugh. It's. I think it's one of those things that you're always trying to make jokes, and I'd say like, I don't know, my first 8 years, 10 years trying to be funny, very bad jokes, very bad jokes, or very bad like, I don't know. You fail very often at trying to make people laugh, and eventually, I don't know. You fail enough that the jokes become automatic, and you like filter out the bad jokes or the bad.
Why do you care so much about telling jokes?
I don't know, man. It's not the jokes that I care about. It's just like having fun, like smiling, laughing with other people, enjoying your time. I think if the other people you're with, I think part of the value you can have with other people and the interactions is if they're smiling when they're with you. And if they're not smiling, what's wrong? If you're not making them, and not making them, but if you're not enjoying your time together with a good laugh, what's the point at the end? You ask who I am, and that's, I don't know, that's part of it. Um, I'm a very curious person. Um, I don't know why. I just always want to know a bit more or want to know about other things. So like obviously here, very much like CS focused, like computer science, but obviously I have a math background. Other than math, I also really like pretty much every science, like biology, chemistry, physics, everything is just very interesting to me. I'm always reading something, listening to a podcast. I have a video when I'm eating, or I don't know, like there's always something that interests me that uh, I'm curious about, that I want to learn more about. Yeah, I think those are the main pillars of my personality in some sense, that I try to enjoy my time with others. I find that humor is a very good path for it. It has this like double edge that it's very important to not be humorous in some situations. If it's a very serious discussion, if you try and inject humor, usually you do it because you feel uncomfortable with the situation, so it's very important to not do it.
You're right.
So you can let the other people kind of go a bit deeper. Otherwise, yes, haha, and if you're going in a very deep place with that person, if you inject humor, you go out of it. So you have to be very particular in those discussions to not overuse it.
You're a curious, funny guy.
That's a good description.
What do you think people misunderstand about you?
I've heard this, and I heard it from Alain, for example. I think sometimes I give the impression maybe that I don't care. I think that's the complete opposite. I care very deeply. Um, with the conversations we've had, like at night, sometimes it. I think the impression I give off is that, uh, it's like, it's a surface level. I haven't really thought deeply about it, but I try very hard to dedicate as much time as I can to really give some thought. And
Why do you think people think you don't care?
I think I just don't show it too much in some senses of like,
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes it's like, there's the immediate reaction for me maybe sometimes isn't visual, in the sense that there's no visual feedback of like a reaction. And in many ways, I really enjoy introspection and giving time to really process things. And it's not until after that process has really finished that I have a formed opinion or really have something to say that I think is important or that I truly believe in. And so I think this delay is what makes it seem like, oh, he doesn't care. That's not the thing. The thing is that give me a day or two,
Yeah.
and then we'll actually have a conversation. I've heard this. It really depends, obviously, on the context, but some, especially if it's like regarding me, I won't react until a few days, maybe later. I try to give it as much time as I can, and also like avoid jumping to conclusions or yeah. So I think there's something that can sometimes be misunderstood that, oh, it rolls off his back. Sometimes it does, sometimes I don't care, but usually it's not the case.
What would you say was like the hardest part of this week for you?
Deciding. The one word I think is deciding. So many decisions that you have to make very, very quickly, very decisively. And they're very hard decisions. So they require a lot of thought, um, second guessing yourself, uh, and trying to sometimes give it a rational perspective for things that are emotional, and sometimes look for emotional parts in what can otherwise be, if you're thinking too coldly about some things, uh, in this idea of like, how do you minimize regret? If you're only thinking rationally, you're not thinking about regret, because regret is an emotion in many ways. It's a feeling. So if you're only thinking rationally, you're not contemplating regret. But if you're too caught up in regret, you're not thinking rationally. So in all of the aspects, in the jobs, in the relationships, in the opportunities, in the people I connect with, and everything, um, deciding has been the hardest part, I guess.
Very true. Have you learned anything about yourself?
That I'm less uncomfortable in some situations that I would have guessed, maybe. Let me try to explain more, maybe, but I'm not very well versed in, I guess. Which is maybe why humor has been so important. It's really easy to break into conversation or form a relationship if you use humor. Uh, but you've spoken with other fellows. Some people have very hard stories. Some people have very hard lives. Some people are going through very difficult things. And I guess in a way I'm surprised, or maybe not surprised, but I'm glad that uh, I don't know. I was able, in some sense, to be supported or to learn more or to make the people feel welcome, uh, and to have these deep conversations, and that it was not, I don't know. I mean, I imagined I would struggle more in these types of situations, and I think I didn't really, because I mean, it's not me who has the situation; it's them. So before I had maybe some tougher conversations with people, I maybe guessed, oh, it's gonna be a very hard conversation, but really, it's not hard for me. The hardship is theirs. So maybe that's part of it. It's you're only here for a week, and it's not been a week yet. It's been 5 days, and I know these people more than some of my best friends. In many ways. So, or at least deep down, and that was, I guess,
It's really cool.
yeah.
How would you explain Puentes to people that are thinking about whether they should apply to this program or not?
Eye-opening in the sense that you meet so many different kinds of people from Puentes itself and from the dinners, and every day you're hearing brand new perspectives, and every day you're hearing how much, like, you're hearing perspectives from brand new people you don't know, but you start to realize like how much these opinions or these stories, these realities for these people like overlap, and it really opens your eyes into how much happens in the city in San Francisco, how some people think, how they view the world, and how similar they all are. Like at the end of the day, yes, it's San Francisco. There's these huge people. They're amazing. Been so successful, but this is just a guy. It's just a girl. You know, they're just people at the end of the day. And it's much easier to really understand these people when you realize and you talk to them in person. Like, oh, this is just a guy. This is just a girl. Like, this is just a person. And they've been through shit as well. They've been through hardship. They've been through great things. They've had, in many ways, experiences that are probably similar to yours. So I think it's the same as if you were going to just meet other people, in the sense that, oh, it's just new people. There's nothing specifically superlative about that. But at the same time, like the stories these people have are in many ways very large success stories, or very influential, or the other way around, like how much they failed in the process to get there, or how much they worked, or how much, and you get to learn from these people up close. So I think it's eye-opening in the sense that you realize that these are just people, that you can just talk to them, you can interact, there's nothing that makes them inhuman. So it's a lot more approachable than one might think if you're not here speaking to them, or not into like talking to them. So it's much more approachable. But then the stories they do have and the advice they give, it's very, how do you say, hard won. That it didn't come for free in many ways. They're talking about experiences they've had, failures. So you're just talking to some guy who happens to have a lot of wisdom, or very good advice for you, or for the other people in the cohort. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of value in the conversations, but don't be afraid because you think, oh, or don't be worried, oh, maybe I'm not fit, or I'm not ready, or these people are way out of my league. They're just people. So yeah, that was my takeaway maybe from Puentes in a sense.